Good morning. Welcome to our video blog. Today we're going to be working on a video about how to use one date prompt to feed all the needed dates for all your queries on one report. This is the first of two videos that cover this topic. There are two aspects to the problem, so we're going to take the simplest example for today, and then later on I'll make one for the second. I'm in beautiful Kenya, and I hope that you sometime get to come to such a beautiful place. I'd like to show it to you. It'll be a little windy when we go out there, and then so we'll end after that and go into our teaching. Okay, so here we go. This is my guest room right now. You can see
let's
that
get started
me.
with this.
And
this is the report we're using as our sample here.
The ocean.
It is a tide report that shows it fundamentally has one row of queries across here that I've expanded by first by my union and then by my missions. A local church will expand it first by their districts under functions and then by the org ID for the churches. But the point of this video is to show that we have just one prompt and one date prompt that feeds all of these queries. And so this query here would look for January only. This one here looks for February only and March. So let's lift the hood and show you how it works. There's several ways this could be put together. And so this is just one. So I'm going to unhide this column so you can see what's going on there. And I'm going to unhide this row. There we go. So here are the periods. These periods are all derived. Let me show you how this works. This value here is nothing but a field reference pulling this prompt into the value for 01. Okay, a field reference. I think you probably know at this point how to get a field reference, but you would click right here and double click that, and it would bring it over here like that. And so there you go. The next one, this is for later on in the presentation, not fundamental to our report here. This is just something I've stuck for something I'm talking to you about in a minute. The value for the heading is nothing but bringing this over into the heading row. See, this is equal to 01. Our prompt is now in 01. And then this value here is nothing but a mathematical equation that converts the prompt value of 2009 into a period, and then these periods here are nothing but incrementing it up by 1. So that is how this is made. Now there's a couple things I'd like to mention to you. First off, when you're using prompt, this type of prompt, you can do the same type of calculation. This is the same as what I had here, but then you can minus 1,000 and get the previous year. So you could see if you put in a period of 209012, you could get the previous year by going 209012 and subtracting 1,000 to get the end of the previous year. Some periods we need are much more complicated than something that can be done with easy math. For example, you put in a prompt of 2009-007, and that prompt will change every time to maybe 209-08 or 208-011. But you need the calculation for the beginning of the year or the period for the end of the year. So it's slightly more complicated. In our next video, we'll address how to do the more complicated calculations when you have a number that is changing every time. But this is just a simple one to get us started. There's a couple principles. First off, when you're doing math, this is true about any math equation in Q&A. When you're doing math, every element of the calculation and every origin cell or feeding cell needs to be formatted as a number. If anything gets formatted as a text, it wrecks the whole thing. So let me just try to illustrate this to you. This cell right here, I'm going to set the format of this cell as you can see it is general as a text. Okay, and let's put a 10 here. Okay, I'll tell you, just make it a little interesting. We'll come up here and we'll point to up here with that value. Okay, so far so good. You would expect everything to blow up, but this thing's trying to help me, so I'm going to have to work, I'm going to have to force it to mess up to illustrate my point. So let's copy that all the way across. This is going to be extremely valuable to you. It's a little bit confusing to explain, so I appreciate your patience. So far it seems to be working okay. Well, it's not calculating right, okay? So it's not behaving like you would expect. But the problem may be that the problem may be that if the format of a cell is not text, then the formula falls apart, as you could see there. Let me do one more just to show you what I mean. Format the cell. You never want to do this. This is the problem we're trying to help you diagnose. Okay. Well, many times you'll see something like this, and you'll remember me telling you all the formats of all the format of the cell and all of its upstream format of the cell and all of its upstream cells. You know what I mean by that? Like B5. Everything needs to be formatted as a number. Well, what you would commonly do is something like this. Now, this may actually work because it knows I'm trying to make a video and it's trying to behave on its best. But let me just show you this, see if it doesn't work. So you format the cell, and you format it as a number. In this case it worked just fine. But many times I will tell you it just does not cooperate when you collect a whole range. So you might just have to take my word for it and practice. Anytime you're formatting a range and you're having your formulas behaving badly, what you need to do is, this sounds crazy, but you need to format the cell first as general. Okay? Then a group format to number works well. Okay? So if you ever have a hard time getting your formats all on the same number format because of selecting a lot at one time, selecting many cells at one time, then try aligning it. Try setting the format as a general and then switching it back to number. If you've got some number and some general and you try to switch them all to number, it doesn't behave as well. But if you change them all to general and then change them all back to number, they behave reasonably. So right here you can see the calculation here, where here I've converted the simple thing to the first of the period, and of course we could just as easily have put a 12 there and convert it to the end of the period and then subtract 1,000 like in the second cell to end of the previous period. So all kinds of possibilities here with doing math. All you have to do is to format. Be careful with your formatting. Thank you very much.